The current lesson that I'm learning is that happiness is a choice, and it doesn't matter what your circumstances are, it doesn't matter who's in the room with you, it doesn't matter where you are. Happiness is a choice. Because for the last couple years, I found myself trying to chase the next big thing. And it was to the point where I would create idols out of things. I would think that, money would make me happy. I would think that love would make me happy. I would think that, getting out of the circumstances I was in would make me happy. And I was deceived to believe that if I entered a room full of sinners, or if I made certain decisions, or if I just simply sinned, that the presence of God would be gone. And that's just not the case. And I was truly convinced that God did not dwell in certain rooms. Right? Like, God doesn't dwell in rooms with sinners. He doesn't dwell in rooms with people who get drunk every single night, or devil worshippers. He doesn't dwell in clubs. God is not in the club. God is not in, strip clubs. God is not in these places, right? And that is literally deception, right? Deception to believe that you can't even witness or talk to a sinner, or be in the same room with sinners, or be in the same room with people that don't worship what you worship. Instantly you feel like the presence of God is just out of you. Do you understand that God promised that he will never leave us nor forsake us? That's a promise. He promised that he will always go where we go. Everywhere we go, he's there. He's omniscient. He's omnipresent. What makes you think that the presence, the Holy Spirit, is just going to jump out of you when you enter a room full of sinners, or you enter a room that doesn't seem godly, where you're not in church? God is always within you. And I think having this mindset now allows me to feel God's presence no matter where I go, no matter if he's talking or not, right? Because a lot of people think that just because he's not talking, his presence is gone. Because a lot of times when we jump into these rooms, or we run back to sin, or do these things that are deemed bad, we think that God's presence is just gone. No, it's our mindset changing. You're mad at yourself, and you're thinking that God's mad at you, so you think that God is distancing himself from you, when it's the opposite. You're distancing yourself from God because you're ashamed. God doesn't take away his presence just because you sinned. You know what that would be? Conditional love. God is a God of unconditional love. That means that no matter what you do, he is always going to be there. Always. He doesn't take away his presence depending on what you do. You know how foolish that is? If we go to heaven and our good deeds doesn't get us into heaven, what makes you think your good deeds are the reason why his presence is here on earth? You know what I'm saying? Like, that is deception. And also, this mindset allows me to understand that no matter what's happening in my life, no matter what rooms I'm in, because on this faith walk journey, for the people that have been watching, I've been going to hotel, Airbnb to Airbnb, and some of them were very low quality, and some of them were very high quality. And I noticed that I would chase the next big thing, right? I would go into these rooms and I would chase the next big thing, and I would think that God is in the higher quality rooms, when God was in every single room, right? Some rooms I didn't feel his presence as much, but he was in every single room. And I noticed that no matter if it was a high-rise penthouse or it was a 3-star motel, both of those rooms, I felt the same way, right? I felt like I was chasing the next big thing. I didn't feel satisfied within myself. And I'm learning to change my mindset, because it doesn't matter what room you're in. The presence of God should always be within you. You should always choose to be happy, right? You should always choose to have inner peace. Because I would always try to chase more money. I would always try to chase a relationship. I would always try to chase, God, I want kids. I want this. I want that. And every time I would do this, I wouldn't feel any more satisfied than I was the last thing that I asked. And that's because you're not supposed to chase that. You're supposed to chase God. That's the only person that would give you true inner peace. It's not the money. It's not the relationship. It's not the kids. It's not the status, right? It's not the wealth. It's not the whatever job you're trying to work. It's none of that. None of it. And when you realize that none of it matters, whether you live across the state, whether you live in your hometown, no matter what room you're in, happiness is a choice. No matter if you're in a room that you didn't expect to be in, no matter if you're in a room with millionaires, does not matter. Happiness is a choice. And in God helping me to fix my heart posture on certain things and helping my mindset, I'm realizing it doesn't matter if I'm in Buffalo, it doesn't matter if I'm in Florida, it doesn't matter if I'm in California, on a plane, in a strip club, it doesn't matter where I am, the presence of God dwells within me. It doesn't matter who's in front of me. It doesn't matter if I'm in a room full of sinners. It doesn't matter. And that's a deception of the enemy, because he doesn't want you to help sinners, right? He wants you to feel disturbed by their presence, right? The same way that sinners feel disturbed by God's presence. He wants that. The devil wants that. Because in doing that, in feeling disturbed, we don't help each other. We don't get to know each other. We don't get to help people get saved and bring them closer to God, because we're disturbed by their presence, because we think that their presence moves God's presence, as if God is not the God of all gods, right? As if he moves when man moves. Like he's just going to remove his presence because the sinner came in the room. That's the deception of the enemy. So yeah, like I said, in learning that, I'm learning that the presence of God is within me no matter where I go, no matter if I'm in a strip club, no matter if I'm in church, no matter where I am. Now, I wouldn't be in those rooms, but just saying, like, God dwells everywhere. He's everywhere. So don't think that just because you sinned, or you walk in certain rooms, or you're in a 2-star motel, or if you're in a high-rise penthouse, no matter where you are, God is there. He's there. He might not be talking as much depending on your certain situation, your certain season, but he's there. He will always be there. That is a promise. Remember the promise that he told us, that he will never leave us nor forsake us. That doesn't mean in specific certain seasons, and like, that doesn't mean in particular situations. That means all the time, 24/7. He will never leave you nor forsake you. So I don't know who need that little reminder, that little talk. I know I'm rambling, but I just felt the need to talk about that happiness is a choice. Doesn't matter where you are. Doesn't matter if you're around people that you deem as bad, when we're all bad. Doesn't matter if you're in a strip club. Doesn't matter if you sinned and you ran back to something that you shouldn't have gone back to. Doesn't matter what you've done. God is still within you. He doesn't take his presence away just because you sin. That is a lie of the enemy. And always remember, he will never leave you nor forsake you.